all these aspects we have been discussed, and also what are the various types of polymers, okay, we are going to use in order to manufacture the FRP composites. So that also have been discussed. Okay, so in this particular session, let me go ahead with the manufacturing process. So how we are going to manufacture the fiber reinforced polymer composites. So as I told, the FRP manufacturing process, that means mainly involves with the mechanical properties. So it depends upon the following. That is what method you are going to use for the manufacturing. That is very, very important. So that we are going to discuss today. And which is the type of the fiber you are using, because I've already been stated that the type of the fiber, okay, based on the type of the fiber you are going to use, okay, so based on that the properties will vary. Next, the relative properties of the polymers and the fiber. So what are the properties of the polymers and fiber based on that? And the orientation. So as I stated, the orientation of the fiber in the composite is very, very important, because if I orient the fibers in unidirectional, that means along the direction of the load carrying capacity of the FRP will be increased. So all these aspects are being discussed. Okay, so today, as I stated, the method of manufacturing process of FRP involves, okay, or techniques I'm going to use is very important, because a proper technique we are going to use in order to manufacture is very important. So in this manufacturing process, we are using both the manual methods and also automated methods. Okay, and what limitations, or what I can say, yeah, it may limitations only, yeah, what limitations you will come across in the manual method, and what, okay, advantages you are going to gain from the automated methods. So all those things I'm going to discuss. So apart from this, I've been discuss the what are the process used. Okay, that means the steps, I can say the very suitable word is steps. So what steps we are being used to manufacture the FRP composites? So coming to the first step, that is, as I told, mixing of resin. That means preparing the resin and activator. Okay, that means preparing the polymers or resin. Next, dispensing the resin. That means pouring the resin into the mold. Later on, I'm going to cure it. And positioning of the reinforcement. That means putting the reinforcement inside the resin. So, as I stated, in fiber reinforced cement concrete or cement composites, we were facing one of the problem. That problem is we're not able to orient the fibers in a proper direction in which we want. Okay, so those problems can be overcome in this particular material. Okay, so the positioning of a reinforcement can be done or can be made, okay, preferably however we want. Okay, next, impregnating. So this is a very, very, very important. So this is the one of the limitations you will come across in the manual method, because the reinforcement, that is fibers, we cannot impregnate into the resin properly, because the voids will be present. So those voids we need to evacuate. Otherwise, okay, this FRP laminate will not be proper to go ahead with the mechanical properties. Okay, so all these steps you're going to come across in the manufacturing process. So with these, let me go ahead. Okay, so what are the various manufacturing methods? So the various manufacturing methods differs in the techniques of executing the above mentioned 5 operations. That's what it differs. That means in one method you are going to use a different method. In another method you are going to use a that is based on the manual and automated methods. So based on this, so today let us discuss one by one, okay, the fiber reinforced polymer composite preparation or manufacturing process. So coming to the first one, that is and layup technique. So you can see from the figure, that is, so this is the dispensing, I'm dispensing the resin, and this is a mold, okay, this is a mold, okay, and later on you can see here, I'm pouring the resin, and also I'm, okay, putting the reinforcement. Okay, so after putting the resin and reinforcement, you can see the black color thing, so which is a laminate have been prepared. Okay, so after preparing this laminate, you can see this is the metal roller which I'm going to roll it. Okay, so this is the steps I'm going to see. So let me discuss that. So this is the simplest composite fabrication method. It involves placing fiber reinforcing mats. Okay, so instead of putting the fiber reinforcing this thing, they are going to put the fiber reinforcing mat, prepared mat. Okay, in the open mold. of the desired shape. So the shape will be depending upon the mold. And applying the resin into the reinforcement by pouring, brushing, or spraying. Okay, so that means this reinforcement I'm going to put inside this mold, okay, by using this. Either I can pour it, either I can brush it, or I can spray it. Okay, so this resin will be, okay, put inside the mold using these methods: pouring, brushing, or spraying. Next, at time the reinforcement mat's impregnated. That means after pouring the resin, so this reinforcement will be impregnated. That means attached to this resin. Okay, so later on, after putting this reinforcement and this, so this ribbed metal roller or steel roller I'm going to use. Why? Because in order to consolidate this laminate. So why I'm going to consolidate this laminate? Okay, so I'm going to consolidate or fully impregnate this laminate, because whatever the air voids that will be present, inside this, so in order to evacuate this, the air voids, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to rub this steel roller. Okay, so by using this steel roller, I'm going to completely, okay, roll it on the surface of the laminate so that I can evacuate the voids. If voids are present inside the laminate, so okay, then automatically the mechanical properties may go down. Okay, so next, what will be the, okay, so after coming to know about what is the limitations or what is the advantages, see here, the advantages are, this is less manual oriented. That means it is not it is a manual method, as I stated. Okay, so the labor is very minimum. Okay, and the investment is also very minimum. No need to worry, only mold you need, just put a resin, that's it. Okay, and the rate of production is also low. So the rate of production is also low because it's a manual method. Okay, and now, due to the presence of entrapped air between the layers, which cannot be completely avoided, this is the limitation, because since it is a manual method, we need to use this steel roller in order to evacuate the air bubbles, okay, from the laminate. Okay, so not effectively you're going to evacuate these voids from this laminate. Is it clear? So hence, so this is the limitation of this hand layup method. That means you cannot, okay, evacuate the voids present inside the laminate. So that is the drawback, or I can say the limitation in the hand layup technique. Okay, so that's what they've been mentioned, which cannot be completely avoided. The composite manufactured by this method will have a variability in the mechanical. So because of, okay, for example, if one person uses a metal roller, he will evacuate in a different pressure. If another person uses this metal roller, they will evacuate in a different pressure. That means the variation in the human pressure will also lead to the variations in the mechanical properties. Did you get my point? So why? Because of the presence of air voids. But the manufacturing method is very simple. Okay, very simple. You can manufacture more effectively. Okay. So next, so this is regarding hand layup. So next, they went with some more improvement, that is called, next is spray up technique. So what is it, spray up technique? So in this method, the reinforcement bundles, so that reinforcement bundles called rovings. Okay, so these reinforcement bundles, they are called as rovings. Okay, so these rovings are fed through a chopper. Okay, so this chopper, okay, so this will be a chopper. Okay, so, and you can see this will be the fibers they are going to put inside that one, which cuts the fiber into the small pieces. Okay, so now this chopper, what it does, so whatever the fibers I'm going to put inside this, okay, this fiber will be chopped and it will be, okay, laid on this particular mold. This will be the mold. You can see this is the mold. Okay, this is the mold. Okay, and this will be the choppers. Okay, sorry, this will be the, what I can say, the resins container. Okay, and this will be the chopper spraying gun. Okay, spray gun, I can say, and this will be the rovings, you can see. Okay, so all those fibers, when it comes, resins, fibers, everything comes, it will be chopped. Okay, it will be cut. Okay, and so that this fiber, okay, which will be mixed with resin, will be, okay, laid on the surface of the mold. So by this we can prepare the laminate. So this is the improved thing they have been made. Okay, so let me see. The chopped fibers along with the resin system are sprayed directly onto open mold. That's what. So this is the container, okay, catalyzed resin. That means that will be mixed with resin and activator. So this will be fed, okay, through this resin, okay, and this will be the, what I can say, the roving, the fiber rovings or bundles. So this fiber will be fed, okay, and it will be distributed in this middle one. So the resins at the okay, on either sides, and the middle portion, the fibers, okay, will be induced. So those resins and fibers will be cut, okay, and later on it will be impregnated on the surface of the mold. Because of that pressure, okay, the chopping pressure, okay, it will cut, okay, and it will be sprayed. That will be sprayed on the surface of the mold. That's why it is called spray up technique. Okay, the resin and the fibers will be cut or chopped and spray on the mold. Did you get my point? In earlier we used to impregnate it. So now, okay, because of that pressure, okay, because of the pressure, it will be impregnated. Next, spray up is a highly productive process, but control of fiber distribution and thickness of the composite is entirely by the hands of the operator. That means, okay, it is, as I stated, it is completely hand operated. Once again, it is a manual method. So whoever okay, the person operates the chopper. So based on its, okay, I can say the pressure, you can say that, okay, you will cut that fibers, okay, and based on this, what I can say, the operation pressure of the resin. So based on that, it can, okay, spread or mixed, okay, and you can spray upon the surface of the mold. Okay, so entirely that depends upon the person who operates this chopper. Did you get my point? Next. So next, they have been improved with, okay, so they wanted to get a good laminate, that is FRP laminate. So they want to induce certain pressure, okay, because in both these methods, okay, you can see that air voids you cannot, okay, evacuate so effectively because you need to go with a manual only. Okay, so hence they come up with a new method called vacuum bag technique. Vacuum bag technique. What is that? Let me know. So this is the simplest form of closed mold process. So it is a complete closed mold process. Okay. So in the both the things, spray up and hand up, these are open layup techniques. So it is a closed process. So in this process, reinforcement and the resin are applied by hand onto a open mold. Okay, so the reinforcement and the resin are applied, okay, onto the mold, okay, manually. Okay, manually. Next, a release film is then laid over it. I will tell you what is that. Followed by a rubber bag which is clamped to the edge of the mold. So see here. So this is the mold. So this is the hatched portion is the mold. Okay, and you can see, as I told that, okay, the manually they are going to put this reinforcement, okay, or resin, what I can say, they are going to put, and above that they are going to place this released film, okay, and above that they are going to put a rubber bag, and above that they are going to put a rubber bag, okay, and later on this release film and the rubber bag, they are going to clamp on either side. You can see this, the release film that they are going to clamp it. Okay, so why they are going to use this release film and this rubber bag? So that effectively they can evacuate these air voids and they can impregnate the laminates. And the very interesting thing you can see here, this is the controlled wall, and this will be connected to the vacuum pump. So why they are using a vacuum pump here? Because they are inducing a vacuum pressure. Because in earlier two methods, in the spray up technique and hand layup technique, okay, it is not possible to evacuate the voids properly. Because of that reason, the mechanical properties of FRP composites were reducing. So in order to overcome that, this vacuum pressure, they are going to induce through this laminate so that they can evacuate the air voids effectively. So this is the improved thing they have been brought. Okay, so that's what the space between the bag and the mold. That means the rubber bag and the mold, okay, is evacuated. Okay, so that atmospheric pressure is applied over the surface of the laminate. So through the surface of the laminate, they are going to apply the pressure. So that means between the rubber bag and between the mold, okay, the laminate has been placed. Okay, through this, okay, they are going to, okay, put the atmospheric pressure or vacuum pressure. So because of this vacuum pressure, okay, you can evacuate the air voids more effectively. Next, additional rolling on the outside of the bag may be necessary to achieve complete. That means if you are not confident enough, that means if you're not confident enough that if the air voids, okay, completely not have been evacuated, at that particular circumstances, you are going with the additional rolling on the outside of the bag, so that complete consolidation you can achieve. So automatically the properties of the FRP also will be improved. Okay. Next, we went with another improvisation in the manufacturing process, that is called pressure bag technique. So what is that? So this analogous to the vacuum bag molding, except it allows the use of high pressure than atmospheric, producing better consolidation. Now, the only change between the vacuum bag and pressure bag is here they are going to use a compressor. So compared to the vacuum pressure, that means here they are going to put a atmospheric pressure, but here they are going to put a compression pressure. That means high pressure will be induced. So because of the high pressure inducing inside the mold, so that you can evacuate the voids, okay, very effectively. You can evacuate the air voids very effectively, because this is the problem or drawback we have been observing from the last three methods, that is hand layup technique, spray up technique. So you have come up with a new technique called vacuum bag technique. In the vacuum bag technique, you have been using atmospheric pressure, which was not sufficient to, okay, evacuate the voids. So hence we have come up with a technique called pressure bag techniques. Okay, so that you can put a high pressure. Okay, next, faster and better curing of resin can be achieved by using heated air or steam in the bag, because it is a completely, okay, the steel oriented, completely steel oriented. Okay, so hence what I can steam oriented, hence I can evacuate this particular what I can say, the air voids more effectively. The mold in the methods leads to much more robust as it withstand loads generated by the upward pressure, because of the method of manufacturing. That's what I've been told. Based on the method of manufacturing process, okay, the mechanical properties of the FRP composite will be differs. Okay, in pressure bag, as compared to the, okay, the spray up technique and layup technique and the vacuum bag technique, okay, you can prepare or manufacture the FRP composite more effectively. You can see here, okay, the same concept I'm using here, okay, no difference except the pressure. See, the mold is same, the lamina have been induced, I've been induced the film, I've been induced the rubber bag, okay, and complete this has been closed, because it is a closed mold process. You can see the clamp. Okay, they have been completely closed, and later on it has been connected to the compressor. Okay, through this compressor they are going to induce the pressure, okay, and this will be distributed all around the laminate. So because of this pressure, it will completely evacuate this, okay, the air voids. Okay, so that you can get a well manufactured, okay, FRP laminate or composites. Okay, so this is what the technique. So it is a little bit improved version of vacuum. Okay, high pressure we are going to induce. Next is autoclave molding. So some more improvisation. Okay, the method is same. Okay, but we are going with some improvisation. Okay, so what is that? You can see here. So this is a combination of vacuum bag and pressure bag molding. So this is method is autoclave molding is somewhat, I can say, the combination of vacuum pressure and vacuum bag technique, and also the pressure bag technique. The process uses a vacuum bag assembly inside a heated and a pressurized vessel. Okay, so you can see they have been induced a vacuum bag, okay, inside the mold, and also the pressure bag. Okay, everything. Okay, that means the both the things they are going to use. A layer of pre-pregnated, okay, material, okay, is laid on the mold to make up the full thickness of the composite. That means they have been laying this, okay, the same technique. So whatever have been used in the last two methods, the same technique I'm going to use here also. So no change. Next, bleed cloth, okay, release film, same thing, vacuum bag are placed over the pre-pregnated. Okay, so this is the, okay, what I can say, the chamber. So inside the chamber, okay, you can see the same mold, the release film, okay, the laminate, everything. Okay, and also they're going to clamp it. Okay, and to this they have been supplying the vacuum pressure. Okay, and entire assembly they have been sealed in the autoclave chamber. Okay, so hope you know what is the meaning of autoclave chamber. So autoclave chamber is nothing but it is a pressure controlled chamber, a steam chamber. Okay, it is a pressure controlled steam chamber where you are going to put a pressure, okay, induce a high pressure through the steam. Okay, by inducing through the steam, okay, you're using a more pressure inside the, okay, this, what I can say, the autoclave, so that you can effectively prepare the laminate. So that is the what meaning of autoclave. Okay, and it will be completely sealed. You can see sealed autoclave chamber. Next, the mold and its contents are then loaded into autoclave. That means after preparing the entire mold, this will be loaded inside, which is closed and sealed. So this is very, very important in the case of autoclave. Okay, inside the autoclave and inside the autoclave, the composite laminate is subjected to vacuum, pressure, and heat simultaneously. That means the vacuum pressure and also the another pressure, okay, will be induced. As it's stated, the vacuum pressure, okay, this autoclave molding will induce a heat pressure inside. So apart from the heat, okay, the vacuum pressure will also be induced, so that both heat and the steam, okay, will effectively evacuate the air voids, okay, so that you will get a better mechanical properties. Okay, this will ensure, that's what this will ensure, air is extracted from the composite, resulting in full consolidation and curing. So this will lead to the full consolidation and curing. Because of the inducing both vacuum and pressure technique, you can effectively manufacture this component. Next, okay, so in this method produce a very high quality composite products. So from this you can manufacture the high quality, okay, component, or I can say the product. Okay, so compared to the vacuum bag and pressure bag, it is effective to go ahead with autoclave molding because it involves, okay, the mixture of pressure bag and vacuum bag. That means inducing vacuum pressure and also the heat. So both the things we can go ahead. Okay, next come to the filament winding. Okay, so filament winding. So what is this filament winding? In this method, continuous strands or rovings of reinforcement are passed through a bath of activated resin and then wound to the rotating mandrel as shown in figure. So please observe here. So please observe. See, this is the bundle of fibers. Okay, so this will be this is called bundle of fibers or rovings. Okay, it's something like a central spindle. To this spindle, they have been wounded these fibers. Okay, so it's something like this. So these fibers, they are going to feed into the resin bath. So this is the resin bath. Okay, so these fibers will be immersed in the resin bath. So after immersing this resin bath, so once it is dipped, so this resin bath will be, okay, once again will be fed. Later on, you can see it will be rotated, okay, in the rotating mandrel. Okay, so the rotating mandrel, after impregnating this fiber inside the resin, so it will be, okay, wound to the rotating mandrel, so that you can, okay, go ahead with the preparation of FRP like this. Okay, so this is the, okay, method. So what I can say here, instead of manufacturing just like a laminate, they're manufacturing something like, what I can say, the threads. Okay, like this they are going to use the method. So that's what I've been, okay, discussed here. The roving delivery system called the feed eye reciprocates along the length of the mandrel, and its speed of movement can be controlled relatively to the rotation. That means you can control, you can see here the gearbox, okay, you can see the driven motor. Okay, so based on the driven motor speed, okay, this rotating mandrel can be, okay, controlled, the speed will be controlled, okay, to give the required fiber orientation in the composite. See, when you want an angle of orientation, okay, that means 45-degree orientation or some angle orientation, okay, so you can orient based upon the speed. Okay, you can see whatever the fiber that will be fed inside the resin bath, okay, you can feed, okay, or we can wound to the rotating mandrel in a particular direction. Okay, and later you can use this rotating mandrel, okay, in order to go ahead with the manufacturing of FRP laminate. That means in each method you are using a different thing. Okay, in earlier I was discussing regarding the laminate manufacturing process. Here I'm just manufacturing something like a mandrel. Okay, so after appropriate layers are applied, the composite wound around the mandrel. That means this FRP, that means this whatever that has been impregnated inside the resin bath, so this will be wound to the rotating mandrel. So this is the technique they are going to use in the filament winding techniques. Okay. And the next, coming to the pultrusion technique. Okay, what is it? So this is a continuous method of molding composite with a prismatic cross section. In this method, continuous roving is passed through a resin bath, okay, and then draw through a heated die. So please see here. So this is the one more thing I can say, the bundle of fibers, or I can say the creel of fibers. Maybe it may be carbon or glass fibers. So once again, this will be fed inside the resin bath, which is the activated resin bath. So from this activated resin bath, okay, they are going to use this heated dye, okay, so that after immersing this, it will be pulled and heated, okay, so that I can dry this. Okay, I can dry this effectively because it will be in the wet state. Okay, I can dry it properly, and later on I'm going to pull it. So that is why it's called puller. Okay, and whatever the things I'm going to manufacture will be FRP, laminates, or composites. So that's what I mean. The die controls the cross-sectional shape of the composite. It can control. Okay, that means it will maintain the shape, the size, everything. Okay, by the die. Next, this process yields a continuous length of a material with unidirectional length as well as high reinforcement to resin ratio. So this is the advantages. You can manufacture in the unidirectional, that means in one direction, and also, okay, the high reinforcement to resin ratio can be achieved or obtained. Okay, so like this, they are going with a pultrusion manufacturing process. So these are the various manufacturing process they are going to use in order to prepare the FRP laminate. FRP laminate. So in hand layup technique, spray up technique, okay, vacuum bag technique, those are the manual methods. Pressure bag and what I can say, this autoclave molding, pultrusion, filament winding, these are somewhat I can say mechanized methods. Okay, and preferably in the pultrusion and the filament winding, they are going to prepare just like a thread. The FRP will be a thread, but in the spray up and layup, it will be laminate. Is it clear? It will be something like a sheet. Okay, but here you can prepare just like a threads. So later on, okay, you can go ahead with the weaving, and you can prepare your the reinforcement, okay, material or the FRP material, and you can go ahead with the mechanical properties. So in this predominantly used method or manufacturing process, okay, I can say to manufacture the FRP, laminate, or composite is pultrusion technique and filament winding technique. So please note this point. So more majoritively they are going to use is pultrusion technique and this filament winding technique. So these two methods, and sometimes they are also going with autoclave. Okay, so these are the methods predominantly. Nowadays, they have been stopped using hand layup because you cannot get a good laminate. When you're going with mechanized or automated methods, so at that particular circumstances, you can go with these methods. Okay, the predominantly used is pultrusion, this filament winding technique, autoclave molding technique, all these things. Did you get my point? So this is regarding the manufacturing process. So as I stated, so based on the manufacturing process, you people have observed, okay, the mechanical properties will also vary because whatever the methods you have been induced in order to manufacture, okay, those methods will vary because in something you will induce a, okay, hand layup, in hand layup technique you're using a, what I can say, the manual method of compaction. In autoclave, we are using a different machine method of compaction. So the compaction methods are different and the procedure is different. Did you get my point? So based on this method of manufacture, the mechanical properties will also vary. Okay. So based on this, I've been quoted a small example. Okay. The mechanical properties based on the manufacturing process. You can see here. So the table 3.3 clearly explains the typical mechanical properties of the glass fiber. Okay. I've been quoted one particular laminate, that is a glass fiber composites laminate. Okay, FRP laminate. So manufactured by different methods. So let me go ahead. So in the first column, they are going with the method of manufacture. Next is tensile strength, tensile modulus, flexural strength, and next flexural modulus. So coming to the hand layup technique, you can see the tensile strength is 62 to 344. And in tensile modulus, it will be 4 to 31. And 110 to 550 is flexural strength, and this will be a flexural modulus. Coming to the spray up technique, you can see it's slightly reduced because, as I stated, in spray up technique, okay, the preparation of FRP is completely depend upon the operator, how he operates. So based on that, the tensile strength will be varied. Okay, so now you can see the tensile modulus is also less, flexural strength is also less. So it is better to go with hand layup technique rather than spray up technique. Okay, next come to the filament winding. As I stated, predominantly used two methods. So in the filament winding, you can see the enormous increase in tensile strength. You can see here 550 to 1380 megapascal improvements. Compared to this, you can see, oh, okay, almost you can say double or three times, I can say. Next, you can also see the tensile modulus improvement, see the flexural strength enormously improved, flexural modulus, okay, strength is improved, flexural modulus is improved. Okay, in pultrusion also you can see, okay, a little bit less, but comparatively more than this. Okay, so you can see. So that means by comparing or by observing from this table that filament winding and pultrusion techniques are more effective methods. Effective methods to go ahead with the manufacturing process of FRP composites. For example, if you change the fiber content, that means the type of fiber, you can increase this. If you, for example, if you use carbon fibers, if you use a carbon fibers, so if you use a carbon fibers, you can enormously improve these things. Okay, these properties will be improved. And nowadays, whatever the FRP laminates they are preparing or producing or manufacturing, so they are using these carbon fibers more rather than glass fibers. Okay, so if you use a carbon fibers to produce a FRP laminate, so automatically you will get more mechanical properties compared to the glass fiber. Did you get my point? So this is regarding your manufacturing process. So okay, the next is I'm going with the application, which is very, very important, specifically to the field of engineering. So these FRP composites have found application in the various branches. So in the various branches they have been using. So also in the medical field they're using in engineering field. In engineering field they're using in okay, aeronautical field, mechanical field. Okay, nowadays they're using in the civil engineering field. So during the initial years, as I said, it was predominantly used in aerospace structures due to its lightweight, high strength, as I told, so as I discussed. So later on, okay, they started to use in the field of civil engineering also. Okay, so you can see here mechanical field, automobile field, chemical field, marine field. So in all these fields, okay, they're using this FRP. Now, due to its corrosion resistant property, they have been used in chemical. So this is the very much important for civil engineering field also, because hope you observe that in the construction of bridges, nowadays they are going with reinforcement rods, something like fiber reinforced polymer rods. Okay, instead of using this reinforcement, steel reinforcement, they're using carbon fiber polymer. Okay, the carbon fiber or fiber reinforced polymer rods, FRP rods, instead of using steel reinforcement. Why? Because it will be more effective with the corrosion resistant property. So that has been observed. So this is very, very, very important in the case, because as I stated, in the reinforced cement concrete, the major drawback is corrosion. So especially in the case of marine condition or in the coastal area, once the concrete structure is subjected to the, okay, or submerged or exposed to the seawater or whatever the things, so automatically the service life will be decreased. Okay, the service life will be decreased. So in order to overcome this, if you go with these FRP rods or reinforcement, you can overcome this property. Next, apart from this engineering field, they are also using in sports equipments like tennis rackets. So whatever the, okay, in the tennis rackets, okay, in the strings they are using, so those are fiber reinforced polymer strings. Fishing nets, pole vaulting rods, baseball bats. So all these things they are going to manufacture with FRP composites. And as I stated, it is also used in biomedical engineering for making prosthesis. Okay, that is one thing. And next, pultruded. So as I stated earlier, so they are going to prepare fiber reinforced polymer rods or reinforcement, preferably with the pultrusion techniques. So that's what it is called, pultruded FRP rods. So used to in reinforcement concrete. Next, a very, very, very important or advancement that has been happened in the field of civil engineering is, so when you want to repair or when you want to increase the strength of a reinforced concrete structure, preferably in flexure, because the flexural member such as slab and the beam is very weak in carrying a tension. Okay, because of the enormous live load, okay, it will show the cracks or deflection. So those cracks or deflection can be improved by impregnating these FRP sheets. So these fiber reinforced polymer sheets will be impregnated to the beam or with what I can say the slabs, so that you can effectively increase the capacity, structural capacity of the slab and the beams. Did you get my point? So next, the FRP composite will find a newer application in the future on all spheres of life. That's what. So you can go ahead with all the things. So basically in the civil engineering field, so they are using with FRP rods, that is reinforcement rods, and this FRP they have been using as a sheets in order to increase the structural capacity. You people can think in some other ways also. So this is regarding your fiber reinforced polymer composites. Okay, so this is what the thing regarding your fiber reinforced polymer composites. Hope you have understood the what I can say, what is the meaning of FRP, and and what resins you are using, and what are the different manufacturing process. So all those things have been discussed from the last session. So hope you have understood. In the examination you can expect a question in this particular topic is regarding the manufacturing process. So what will be the manufacturing process involved in the FRP composites? What will be the manufacturing process involved in the manufacturing process of the FRP composite? That is which particular method? So in the examination, so this particular question is very, very important. So that means and layup, spray up technique. So with figure you need to explain in the examination. So hope you have understood whatever have been discussed. So this is regarding your FRP preparation. Composites. So with this I am going to end the session of this fiber reinforced polymer composites. So we'll come up with a few more alternative materials in the next session. So thanks for joining. So please watch my channel.